I bought this bike at a thrift store, and this is exactly how I found it. Notice these little bolts sticking out of the side of the brake levers here. Apparently there had been like safety brakes attached to these levers, and somebody had pulled them off, leaving just these brake levers. I originally considered buying another pair of brake levers that were just brake levers that didn't have the safety brakes on them, and replacing these with them. But I already had these aero brake levers that came off my older Trek 1000. I thought, well, maybe I'll go ahead and upgrade these levers to aero brake levers and just make the bike a little nicer when I go to resell it. One of the issues is the brake here, the pull is over on this side, where a lot of the new brakes, they're on the other side. Here's the brakes that came off my Trek 1000, the pull is over here. So what that means is when the cable comes out from underneath the tape here, it would have just a much more gentle curve just to go over there. But now it has to kind of come over and come back over to here, because I have to leave a little bit of an extra space in here to allow this to kind of go down when the brake is operated. So that's going to make it just a little trickier there, because since it's on this side. So I'll have to play around with this. Because also with this stiff here, it's going to be pushing down a little bit, and so it's just going to be interesting. It should work though. I'm pretty sure it'll work. So the first thing I have to do is pull the handlebar tape off. So I'll pull back the hoods here. Start getting the tape off. Now that I've got the old handlebar tape removed, I'm going to go ahead and cut the cables and remove the old levers. Just pull the old cable out. Once I have the cable out, I should be able to reach the bolts in here that are holding the levers to the handlebars. And on this, it's a flat tip screw. So I'm going to go ahead and just loosen that screw. A lot of times there's an Allen bolt in there, but these have like take a flat tip screwdriver to go ahead and loosen. So just loosen the clamp. And I slide these off. Just a little bit more. Got that done. Okay, now that I have all the handlebar tape off and the old brake levers off, I'm going to go ahead and just use some paint thinner on a rag to help clean off all the old adhesive from the tape. Clean that off. And I want to especially focus on cleaning these parts up here from the adhesive, because those parts are probably going to be exposed. So get those cleaned up the most. Okay, while I got the handlebar tape off, I'm just go ahead and run some steel wool off over these, just clean a little bit of this rust off even though it's going to be all under the tape, just clean a little, just rough it up a little bit, clean it off a little bit. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, now I'm ready to go ahead and install the brake levers onto the handlebars. A lot of times they're marked left and right. I'm not seeing it on here readily, but one thing you can look at is on the top here, these little notches here, those are where the cable's going to come out. You want the notches to be towards the inside of the handlebars. So this will be on the left one and this will be on the right one. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the brake lever and slide it on. I may have to kind of rotate it around and get it roughly into place here. Once I get it just roughly up here where I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and there's a knot opening right in the front here on this particular one. I can reach in there and find the little bolt for the clamp and just kind of tighten it down. I don't want to tighten it down all the way because I need to position the lever here. So just get it roughly adjust there. Now I'm going to use a straight edge. What I want to do is line the straight edge up with the flat part of the bottom of the handlebar here. So I get that there, and the bottom of the brake lever is just going to come down and touch that. That's where you want the brake lever to be. You can, for personal preferences, you can adjust a little bit, but this is generally the starting place where you want to adjust the brake lever, where you want to have it mounted. Also look to make sure that it's lined up straight forward from the handlebar there. Once you get it in place, go ahead and clamp it down. Boom. Let's go ahead and do the other one. This is the same as the other side. Just go ahead, slide the brake lever on, get it roughly into place, tighten the little clamp down. Get the straight edge down there. Hold that there. Get the brake lever into place. Check it to make sure it's straight forward. And then go ahead and tighten the clamp down. Now you can go ahead and eyeball the two levers. Make sure they're where you want them to be. Make sure they're both lined up with each other, and they look good. So the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and mount the cables. Okay, next thing we want to do is go ahead and insert the cable inside. Open the brake lever a little bit. You'll find like a little part in here. There's a it's like round, and it'll turn around. It's got like a wide opening on one side. If you rotate it around, it's got a narrow opening on the other side there. We want to have the wide opening facing forward. So we're going to go ahead and just insert the cable into the wide opening. And there should be like a little opening in the back. We're going to push the cable in there, and a lot of times the cable will just come out through the back. If not, you might have to use like a small screwdriver to kind of help guide it out through the back. But don't push it all the way through yet, because we're going to use this as a guide for the cable housing. Okay, so now I got the cable through this side. I'm going to get ready to put the cable housing on. I've got a bit of cable housing here, and one thing you use is a nice little scribe, because sometimes the holes in the end of the cable housings, when they cut them, the little plastic on the inside of the cable gets kind of munched down. So a lot of times it's nice to have a scribe, and you just go poke it down in there and poke it down in each end to kind of open up the plastic so the cable can go in and out. Okay, so now on a lot of types of aero brakes, you're going to need a special type of little ferrule, a little thing that goes onto the end of the cable housing. On these, if I use just the cable housing or put a standard little ferrule on there, the cable housing is just going to go right through the back of the thing. It's just not going to work. So I got these in my local bike shop. So I'm going to fit that right onto the end of the cable housing and then slide the cable into there. Pull back the little hood here and slide this in. Just going to work it in here. And then the cable housing, going to push it all the way in to where it just doesn't go in any farther. Okay, so now I got it in, and it might move some more, but I'm going to use a little bit of electrical tape here. And I'm going to go ahead and the way that the housing is going to run is it's going to come over just the top of here and then work its way down to the front of the handlebars there. So it'll go to the inside of this curve here. So I'm going to use a little bit of tape here just to kind of hold it in place temporarily. I'm going to put some more tape on later, but it may move a little bit, but we need to adjust the length of the cable housing. And so we need it in position before we cut it. And the handlebar tape is going to come right to this little lip there, that little edge there. So I'm going to run the last bit of tape just to the inside of that little notch there. And so now the housing is going to come to right, and it'll go down into the brake there. So now I need to adjust the length of the cable housing. And this is a little bit longer than what I really want it to be. I need to have a little bit of a curve in here so that it gives it some movement, some room for movement. I think that will work right about there because that'll give the brake a little bit of a room to move up and down there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the housing there. I got some nice cable housing cutters here. These are made by Park Tool. If you use cheap ones, they just do a really poor job. These cost a bit of money, but they're going to do a great job. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the cable housing right there. Use the scribe here. Open up the hole there. Now go ahead and push the cable through. And I can go ahead and pull the cable through the housing here. So now I'll run the cable down through the brake here and run it down through this little part here that locks onto the brake cable. There's a little hole back in here, and so I'll slide the cable down through that. And then just go ahead and pull the cable down. There. Now I can go ahead, kind of pull the cable there, the brake closed, and then I can kind of work on trying the brake here. Everything seems to work good there. So now what I'm going to do is, the easiest way to adjust these things is take this little barrel adjuster right here, screw it in all the way, and then unscrew it about 3 or 4 full turns. It's right there. Now, go ahead, close the brakes against the hub. Pull the cable as tight as you can in there, and then go ahead and tighten this down onto the cable here. Okay, so now there's very little movement. Now go ahead and screw this back in a little bit. The barrel adjuster down in to loosen it. And so now it's moving pretty well there. I can maybe unscrew it out just a little bit. But now you can go ahead and adjust the brakes to how you want them. So I'm going to tighten this back down all the way. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape that I put on there temporarily. And do a better job of it. Pull the cable in, and then I'm going to start down here close to the brake lever and tape it to the handlebar there. Go up into the curve here. Let me go a little bit farther. Okay, just about got one side done. Now I'm just going to go ahead, cut the cable here. Again, I'm using some good quality cable cutters for a nice clean cut. Now I'm just go ahead and take a little cable end crimp thing here, slide that on, use a tool, and crimp that on. One side done. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the other side. Same way, slide the cable through. Get it worked out through there. I have a much longer piece of cable housing here. Open up the end of the cable there. I've got, again, another low ferrule. Slide that on there. Slide the cable through there into the cable housing. Then work that in there. Get that into place. Work that in. A little bit of tape here. Okay, so I've got this old cable housing still running through these little bracket things here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out, pull the old, and get rid of that. So now I'm going to take the new cable housing and I'm going to run it around and run it through these little brackets as well. Run it around to the back. I might run it to the inside of this cable here. Just kind of hold it in a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to run it to the inside of this. And see how that works. You don't want to have more cable housing than you need up here, but you don't want to have too little. You want to have enough so that when you go ahead and turn the handlebars all the way, that it's not like completely tight here. So that looks about right, because I can go ahead and turn the handlebars there and they're still, it's not like totally bound in there. So like that. So that actually works out pretty well, right like that. So go like this, boom, and do this, and it's loose. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of tape on here to just hold this temporarily so it doesn't slide. Okay, so now I need this little section back here. I don't want to have it like straight down here because then that doesn't give it any room to move. So I need to have a little bit of extra there, but again, I don't want to have too much extra. So I think if I go ahead, have it about right there, that give it enough room to move, maybe just a hair more. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it right there. Maybe just a hair, touch longer. And I don't like that cut, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut just a hair off of that. Clean it up. Yep. Get in there. That's a little bit better. And I'll get the skewer in there, open that hole, and just slide that right into there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I still got the remaining bit of cable down there from before, from the old cable. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this, pull that out. Now I'm gonna go ahead, push the cable out through the cable housing. And there it comes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. Get it all seated up there. Okay. Take the cable, slide it down through here, slide it down through the little locking mechanism here, the little lock bolt part. Slide that through. Get the cable housing seated in there. I'm going to go ahead and screw this all the way in. Unscrew about 3 or 4 full turns. One. There's that. Clamp the brake pads down onto the rim. Pull the cable. And then tighten this little bolt there. Okay, do the brakes a little bit. Okay, tighten this in just a little bit. Give them some more movement. Okay, so only the one side's really moving, but that's not a big deal at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this little nut on the back here. Just pivot the brake around just a little bit, and then tighten this back into place. That's working a little bit better. I need to tighten this cable just a little bit. Actually, go ahead and pull this, unscrew this just a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to tighten this cable just a little bit more than what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this in. Loosen this cable lock. Pull the cable through a little bit more. Tighten it down. That looks pretty good. Tighten down all the way. Okay, I'm going to cut the cable. I usually leave about 1.5 inches on there. 1.5 inches. Cut the cable. Put the little crimp thing on there. And crimp that on. That keeps the cable from fraying at the end. Now I'm just going to go ahead and pull this other tape off that I put on there temporarily. Do a better job of this. Pull the cable in. Put the tape around there. Bring the cable to the inside of the curve. And there you go. Okay, got the new aero brakes all installed on there. The handlebars are ready to wrap, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap them in a separate video. Nice.